Hello.
Hi,
Welcome to another episode of Our Years. I'm Rima.
this is Barry.
So today's episode, when we were thinking about what to discuss, I was telling Barry about all these articles or subreddits I'm seeing on Reddit about how it's really difficult to find a housing situation in SF. So people are frantically looking for roommates. They're not find apartment rentals are through the roof. And I see a lot of ads for roommates.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah.
Like people are just posting and being like, "I'm looking for a roommate."
Yeah, and I see so many more now than ever before, like in the SF subreddits.
Yeah.
Because typically it's like general things, but
Yeah.
off late it's been a lot about housing and looking for roommates.
Yeah.
And makes sense because we moved because the rental prices were
Right.
so crazy, and a lot of our friends are moving because of it. But made me very grateful that I have a decent roommate
The best roommate.
and that my housing situation is sorted.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like it's interesting because I think because we've just been so lucky with, I think you especially.
Yeah.
And we could get into this a little
Yeah.
later. But I think it's just because we're in a good situation. I think we forget about what's happening to other people.
Yeah.
It's like funny because I think a lot of people tell me that it's been a struggle finding a roommate, or they feel like it's really high risk looking for a roommate on the internet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do feel lucky and very privileged because we're very similar in the way we live or our lifestyle.
Yeah. Should we talk about our origin story on how we started living together?
Yeah. So okay, I'm gonna cut that. So Rima, she just wanted to room with me.
That's not the story.
That is pretty much the story. Let's tell them.
No, that's not what happened.
Okay, I'm kidding. So we were actually friends from grad school when we first moved to the US, and I think we weren't actually close back then.
Close-ish.
Yeah, but because I was scared of COVID,
Yeah.
so I didn't like.
Scared of COVID.
Yeah, because it was during COVID when we went to Cornell.
Yeah.
And I think I just didn't hang out with people so much outside of school because I was just a little scared of contracting COVID and then like passing it on to my roommates. I was just trying to be careful.
Yeah.
So we didn't hang out so much, but like obviously we took a lot of classes together and we bonded over our 8 a.m.
Snow classes.
And that's how we became close and then hung out and then did a little trip to New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think that's when we were like, okay, we're quite
Similar in how we
right.
operate.
Yeah. And then when we were looking for jobs, and then I was moving to California. I think you were still deciding between Boston and California. Right?
Yeah. I was, and so Barry knew she was definitely going to California, and I was still undecided. And so she had started looking for apartments herself, and then when I was like, oh, I got a job in California too. And then we were like, oh, yeah. I asked her if she'd be down to live with me.
I remember, though, that I said so many things to friends where I was like, because I've had my fair share of roommates, and we'll get into more detail, but I just remember telling Reba, I was like, because I didn't want to ruin our friendship. So I was kind of like, this is what I'm expecting in a roommate. And so if you're down and you're okay with all of that, will be great. But I don't want that to be kind of intervene or ruin our friendship.
My line of thinking was completely opposite, where I'm like, I'm not that good friends with her, so if our
Literally
friendship
this woman.
gets ruined,
Okay.
it's okay.
Okay, to be fair, I don't think we were like good friends,
Yeah.
but I think we were like friendly enough where like I don't want to ruin a friendship because of it.
Same.
No. Rima was like, she didn't want to room with her friends that were originally in California.
Yeah, I had friends already in the SF Bay Area, and I was like, oh, I don't want to live with them because it'll ruin our friendship. But I live with Barry, it's okay.
Do you see this?
Because I knew we'd be good together.
Yeah.
I had foresight.
All of this. And then now she can't imagine herself not living with me.
I know.
This is what, the fourth year? No, third.
Yeah.
Fourth year.
Yeah. Since 22.
Yeah. We did 2 years in Sunnyvale. One year there and then 1 year here. So this is going on to the fourth year. You see, so she just wants to room with me.
My work anniversary and our living together anniversary is the same.
Oh, true. Yeah. So that's how we originated as roommates.
Yeah. That's the story. And I think to your point of you've had your fair share of roommates and I have too, I think we wanted to make sure that we didn't have any like we already knew what we wouldn't want in roommates and what we would like in roommates. So I think that really helped, the
Yeah.
fact that we established
Yeah.
what we would like. But yeah, what do you think are green flags and red flags in roommates?
I think like I knew exactly because I guess like from college, I actually went through a fair share of different roommates. So obviously, I think interesting. Maybe the same for you. The first year of college, we don't get to choose our roommates.
Yeah,
you kind of
same.
get assigned.
Yeah,
right. Because you live in the dorms
Yeah.
at the college.
Yeah.
So I had roommates then that actually turned out to be my closest friends. One of the groups that I was closest with in Taiwan.
Yeah.
But I think it was because I stopped living with them.
Oh.
So like when we first started out, we were like, we did everything together, but then our living habits were just so different. So we had like a 4-bedroom little situation. It's not like an apartment, it's just a room with 4 bunk beds.
Yeah.
And then we had a shower and a toilet inside the room. And obviously that's a good situation compared to sharing it with like
Yeah,
all the
I
other
had to
people.
share it with like everybody in the dorm.
Exactly.
It was awful.
Yeah. But then on the contrary, I thought it was awful because now you have to tell your roommates to like pick up trash, clean the bathroom. And I think that's where it got a little iffy. And so I didn't want to ruin the friendship. And so I ended up just taking an earlier leave.
Exit.
Yeah. Out of the housing situation. And then I went to private housing. And I think that actually saved the friendship. And so we ended up like still hanging out a lot and doing things together, and they were like my close friends throughout college.
Yeah, similar situation where first year of uni, I couldn't pick my roommates, but I got along with them. And then second
I
year onwards,
see.
I started living with my friends.
Oh, so they were your friends and then you decided to live with
Them.
Okay.
So I became
My bad.
friends with them, and then I started living
I
with
thought
them.
like you got lucky where like they literally became, because I know that like you guys are like best friends now,
Yeah.
but I'm just like you got so lucky that you were assigned these people and they have
Yeah.
gone
No, I actually really disliked both of them in the beginning,
Oh, yeah,
even though
true,
we
true,
didn't live
true.
together.
Yeah,
So I was
yeah.
actually grateful that we didn't live together, because I was like, they're awful, but they're my best friends now. But
yeah.
yeah, so similar. But I got along with them. It was more jarring to live with so many people. Like I'd never lived in a dorm situation before,
Yeah.
so that was more jarring. Like to have people around you constantly. It had its fun moments too.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could live with that many people anymore. Like I think I can just do one roommate max.
I feel like it's like different phases of life, right? Like we have that one friend who lives in like a 12-person
Yeah, commune.
commune
Yeah,
situation. Yeah, I feel like if you're still in that like
frat house
yeah,
mindset.
right, then you'll be fine with it. Yeah, I don't think I could do it now.
Yeah,
I don't think I could do more than 2. If I had like a townhouse situation, I feel like that would be okay, just because you have your own
and space.
space.
Yeah, a loft situation
Yeah,
would be nice.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
red
so
flags, green flags.
red flags, green flags. I remember saying to Rima, a friend, one of the things that I told you, I told her that I care for like a clean space.
Yeah.
I'm just listing out the things that I told you.
Yeah.
Because I think those were the red flags from my previous roommates'
You've learned.
experiences.
You've learned.
And so I knew exactly what I wanted if I were to room with someone. And those were having a clean common area, so like picking up after yourself, cleaning up after yourself, putting things back to their homes.
Their homes.
You know,
yes.
like you don't leave after you use something, you don't just leave it on the counter and expect someone to clean it up. Like obviously we don't care about what's the bathroom, or like, oh, one of my other things is for me to have my own bathroom, because I'm a little bit of a germaphobe.
A little bit. A little bit. Can I just say, there's one time in our old apartment, her washroom was very close to my room, and there was a day when she was working from home, and I didn't hear any noise from the washroom, and I was like, has she fainted? Has she passed out? Because Barry washes her hand like every half an hour, I want to say. And so when there's no running water, I get concerned that something has happened to her.
This is so funny from your perspective because I remember this so clearly that day. I was working from home and like I just get a text from Reba at like I think right after noonish.
Yeah.
I want to say
Around lunch, yeah.
Yeah, and then she was just like, "Are you okay?" And I was just like, "Yes." And then I was like, "Why?" And she's like, "You haven't washed your hands the entire morning."
And she's in her room. I haven't even seen her. But the thing about living with people is that you pick up on some of their habits, which
That's
you're just like surprised that people operate like that. So when Barry's like, I'm a little bit of a germaphobe, that's a lie.
But you guys, at least you know that I have good hygiene.
Yeah, that's true.
As opposed to someone who doesn't. So I think
We
it's
don't
a
know
win.
anybody. Yeah.
But yeah, that's true. That's true.
So yeah, you said clean spaces.
Yeah, clean spaces. And I think like the reason we've worked to have been roommate for so long is because we're very respectful of like the common areas, and I think we have like similar aesthetics, and so that has been helpful. But yeah, that was one of the things or two of the things that I mentioned up front. And then I think third thing was like telling each other like or giving each other a heads up if you're like bringing people home. Like it's not like I care for if you bring a lot of people home, it's just giving
heads up
because it's a shared space, right?
Yeah.
It's just giving each other like an idea of when you're gonna have people over so that they can mentally prepare themselves for it.
As I'm hearing this and like the more I look at other people's living situations or just like talk to people generally, like all of this should be hygiene, right?
Yeah,
you think that this was just manners,
Right.
but you'd be surprised by
Right.
how much of it is not.
right.
Yeah.
And then what else did I say to you? Oh, I said, is it okay to bring partners home if we do decide to have partners sometime during our living situation? And saying that up front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Barry told me, if I find love, I'm gonna move out.
I did not say this. Okay, she's twisting my words, first of all. I need to defend myself. I think I said something along the lines of, in the event that I do find a partner,
Yeah.
I didn't say I'll move out. I'll just say like that will probably be like the last year.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm the type to like end the lease and have you like deal with it.
No, you'd have to deal with that. But I remember distinctly, she's like, if I find love, I'm a dip.
This is what she remembers.
Yeah, I remember. And I remember
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
that's like, it's cool that she said like,
But it's funny because here we are 4 years later.
you never know, this might be the last year.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
But yeah, I think to green flags, I think it helped us to identify, to your point of, hey, this is what I need. It comes from having bad experiences.
Yeah, for sure.
Which makes me concerned because I've not had bad experiences.
Knock on wood.
Knock
Yeah.
on wood.
Yeah.
But I think I've lived with friends, and that sort of has it's nice to just live with friends, right?
Yes,
And
yeah.
the issues you have, you sort out. But which is contradictory to what I said about moving here and living with friends. For some reason, it was okay in a different country. I don't know what it is. I'm a hippo. I'm a hypocrite.
We know. She's a Gemini.
Yeah, she is. But yeah, I think conversely, your red flags come from what you've learned.
Right.
Yeah, and seen.
Yeah. So yeah, I think like that is a big part to why, and it's funny because we don't like telling people that we're actually good friends.
Oh yeah, because we're scared they'll jinx it.
Yeah. So we're not actually good friends.
Yeah, we just need to share the
roommates.
rent.
Yeah.
Rent is really bad.
But yeah, I think like I told Rima all these things up front, and I was just like, I don't want to ruin our friendship for this. So if you're okay with all of like my little, what's the word?
Requirements?
Yeah, requirements or my little things that I care about, then I think we're good to room together. And obviously if you have some, I hope you can bring it up front.
Yeah. I have lived with random people from the internet too. Like me and my friends did find other roommates from the
I
internet.
didn't know that.
Yeah. And then I did end up becoming friends with some of them, but to begin with, they were just from the internet. And it's interesting what people's first impressions of you are from the internet. And also like you see how other people live and you're like, interesting.
So yeah, as we're talking about like green flags, red flags, some of the red flags, okay, in this house. And even though we didn't say it at friends.
Yes.
Is that this woman thinks she's so safe? She doesn't lock the door. And I just remember I think a few times you forget to lock the door, and that's all fine, okay, because we live in like an apartment complex where you have to beep it. But then she leaves the key on the door, and our neighbor had to come knock on our door and be like, your key's on the door.
Yeah. And this is
Unbelievable.
extra bad because Barry cares about safety so much. Not that I don't, but I'm a little more
No. She's just like, what's that term where you, it's a bubblehead?
ignorant.
Yeah, she's just like, I have to watch for her safety, and everybody else around her has to watch for her safety.
This is not true.
She does. Brother, I think we should get everybody here in this room to vouch for this. Like, Rima will be gone for days because she hasn't checked her phone or charged her phone, and the whole world will be looking for her.
That is true. That is true. That is true.
Correct.
I have nothing to say to that.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so her not locking the door,
It's a big deal.
especially when she's home alone,
Yeah.
and leaving the key on the door, for me or someone else to be like, your key's on your door, that just makes you worry, because I don't want to come home and be like, with hell, I'm not going to have someone to pay rent the next month.
She's been abducted. Yeah, it's really that. This is like, since living with you is the first time I've locked a door.
Yeah. Privilege.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
true.
I think it is privilege.
It is very much privilege.
Yeah,
And a little bit of ignorance.
a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it helps now that our apartment
It's fob.
on a lock. Yeah, and it doesn't. Yeah, you don't need a key. So.
Yeah.
Helps.
That was I think where living with you, one of the things that stood out is like the difference in importance given to safety.
Yeah. And I think it's just because of the result of us growing up in different areas.
Yeah.
I'm surprised because I would have expected like India or maybe certain areas are less safe than
Yeah.
others.
Even now, when I go back home, security is a joke. Like, I could just walk in and nobody would know. And now I realize how that's an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was the big thing. I think one thing that really helped us also about living together, which also we established early on, is that we didn't have to, and that because of that, we didn't have too many fights and conflicts. So the number of like red flags we had to deal with is less or fewer, is because we also like, even though we share space, we don't share things.
Yes, that's true. Like, I think a lot of people were very surprised by us not sharing groceries, for
Yeah.
example. I think there are certain things we share, like
Condiments,
detergents, yeah, which is fine, and we have like a splitwise for that, for like rent and things like that. But yeah, you're right. It's like, as if you open our fridge, we have like
Designated areas.
yeah, which is obviously it's not as like serious as that, but I think it's helpful that we don't share like foods, because I've heard like horror stories from like other people who were rooming with like 3-4 people at once, and they bought groceries together, and it just ended up not being pretty because certain people eat more or less than others, and how can you expect, you know, people to pay the same amount? Additionally, I think some people prefer more expensive groceries than others, right? Or some people prefer a snack and others don't. Like, how do you split that, right? And so then it comes down to, I think, resentment for being like, you know, I didn't eat that, why am I paying for this?
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
I had a friend who lived with someone who, I mean, it's like, okay, yeah, we are sharing space and food, but like my friend would cook constantly and her roommate would eat all the food and be thankful. But it was like, there was a lot of unsaid labor that went into it that was not acknowledged, which again led to resentment.
Right.
But I think it comes down to also, you have to set your own boundaries.
Yeah.
You can't just
For sure.
expect people to treat you like
Yeah.
how you treat them,
Yeah.
which is also a learning, but you need to have boundaries.
Definitely. I think another thing is also our spending habits are quite similar, and I think we're the same level of like generous. I think like I don't think I nitpick if you like use my things, and you don't nitpick if I use yours, that sort of thing. Like, yeah,
You always have snacks.
I always have snacks, not keeping counts, not keeping tabs of the snacks that you eat. Even though she will not eat my snacks because she thinks I'm keeping counts. I'm literally like, the more I share my snacks, the better, because it makes me feel less horrible.
Not
about myself.
even, yeah, no, not even keeping tabs. I feel like I don't want to eat all your snacks.
You
I
see,
don't-
that's the thing. And I'm just like, you're being such a bad friend because I'm just sharing my food because I want
I
to.
don't want there to be a dearth of snacks. Yeah.
Yeah, but snack sharing.
Yeah, I think the other thing about like us is we also have our own things, in the sense we have our own furniture even in the shared
I was just
space.
about to say that too.
Yeah, and so we have like respect for each other's things,
Yeah.
but also it helps to know who, like, the boundary setting is very clear in who owns
Owns
what, who's
what? Yeah.
responsible for what. And I didn't think of that before until you brought it up. You were so when we were moving in, we also moved into unfurnished apartments, and so Barry had this idea that we furnish parts of the apartment so that when we move out we have at least one space together. So for instance, she'll do the dining room and kitchen and I'll do the living space, and I didn't see the value of it until it happened, and now I definitely see the value of that, because there's also like, you know what belongs to someone and you care for it in that regard. Because I also have a friend who lived with someone, and his roommate, my friend owned the couch, and his roommate dropped something or spilled something on the couch and had like no remorse about it.
That
And
sounds horrible.
I know, and it's like, how do you get you have to tell someone to feel apologetic? It's just such a weird space.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just
Yeah.
entitled.
Yeah, I think like that idea came from because I've heard horror stories about like when you move out and you split all the furniture, everything you bought for the house 50-50, how do you deal with that after?
Oh,
Right? Like
yeah.
how, like if I want to sell it for $600 and you want to sell it for $300, but you're splitting it 50-50, like it's just gonna lead to an unhappy situation.
Yeah,
I think money itself is just a very sticky topic.
that is true.
Yeah. But I think because we're quite similar in the way we spend and the things we value, I think it's made it easier. But I think also just designating things to buying, like if I buy everything for the kitchen, then I just take everything.
Yeah.
So it's just easy.
Yeah, that's a really good pro tip. I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of people don't do that. They split everything in the beginning, and then it's
Right.
really hard when you leave
Right.
on
Yeah.
who decides to keep what.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a custody battle.
Yeah.
I feel
That's
like
true.
you've been scarred, and because
I know.
you had such a good plan when we moved in, and I was just like, okay, whatever. I was just like going with the flow, but you're like, no, these things have to be like discussed and sorted.
That's true. And it's funny because I think it was you were like, I labeled my cutlery. And it's funny because before I moved in, obviously I had some cutlery from grad school.
Yeah,
And I had labeled my cutlery
yeah.
because the people I was living with there, I was so scared that they would kind of take my things.
Or pick a fight about it.
Right, or pick a fight and be like, oh, that's actually mine.
Yeah.
And to prevent all of that when I was moving out, I kind of just labeled everything.
Yeah, the label thing was really
It's funny because when people come to our house and they use our things, they're like, why is this labeled?
yeah, and it's also labeled in Mandarin.
Exactly.
You have a little sticker.
I do. I take care of my things, remember?
Yeah. Yeah, the labeling thing was like, oh, this is a new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but pro tip.
Yeah. Labeling.
So I guess like a green flag about one of the things I enjoy about having Rima as my roommates is like, I think we enjoy the same things. So we actually do a lot of things together and we enjoy it. It's not like we feel obliged to do things together. Like one of our favorite things is like watching a show together. Or
Trash reality TV.
Exactly. We used to do that more, but I think like life just got the best of us, and work mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Singles Inferno recently.
Yes.
Yeah.
Spicy.
It's been a fun time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the reason we also decided to start a podcast is because like at the end of our days, we'd reconvene and regroup and discuss what went well and what didn't well.
Yeah.
What didn't go well. And then we would have similar experiences, and what I appreciated was talking to you, because even you had started a job at the same time that I had. You were trying to similarly find friends from a community, date. And so talking to you, it was like almost like after dinner we'd like debrief with fruit or wine on our couch. And we discussed the day, and the thought of this podcast also came through that. And so the ritual was like we'd discuss our day before going to bed. And it was always like, okay, we have to go to bed, it's getting too late, and then we just keep talking. And so that's been nice.
We're just chatterboxes.
That is true.
Yeah. And we're just like, might as well just chatterbox everybody else on the internet. Yeah. And I think it's because we have like similarities and values and things like that, so that has helped. It's funny because a lot of people say, I think I hear like very extremes. I think when we first moved, everybody was surprised that we're good friends. They kind of just assumed that roommates are just roommates.
Yeah.
You know. That's why we had to tell people that we're not good friends.
Yeah, so we
because
don't jinx it. We're educated, by the way.
Yeah, we have multiple
Between us,
degrees.
we have 5 degrees in this house.
Certain things you just can't explain, Mima.
Yeah.
But then on the contrary, when I was chatting to some other people, they were like, no, that's crazy. You would only room with someone who is like your bestie and you guys do everything together. And I was just like, I can see both ways, but I think I hear the former more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why when I introduce you to someone, if they come over, I'm like, this is my roommate and friend. Because a lot of people are surprised that I'm friends with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And we actually do so much together. People are just like, we kind of come as a package. Like when we go to our little like events or communities that we've made here together.
If one's missing, then
they will just be like, where's the other?
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny. But yeah, it's been a good time.
Yeah.
Okay, but we're not actually friends.
Yeah, no, we don't want to jinx it.
What are some other red flags for you?
I had roommates who've brought their partners home and they've been like going at it at the couch and it's like shared space. So then it's just like awkward for everybody. So I think it's that.
Yeah.
Like I'm like very happy for you.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Very happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like the respect for shared spaces in that regard.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like we're not open people. Like we're happy to see our friends.
Yeah,
like,
we're not prudes.
Yeah.
I'm very happy that she's getting it. I just don't want to be in my, like have it in my space.
Yeah.
And it's like things that I think like that are just courtesy, right? But I've also realized what I think is good manners is not what
different.
everything.
Yeah.
And not like I'm better than everybody in that regard. But like
sure.
even someone told me recently that they think saying please and thank you is very formal and they would not do that with people they care about.
You know what? I think honestly that people think I'm proper because of that. Because I say thank you and please so much.
Yeah, and I do too, and I expect it. So if I'm making a new friend or if I'm
Right.
dating someone new, I expect it from them, and
Right.
they think I'm being like really formal,
Yeah.
and that we're past all that. But I'm like, no,
No.
niceties exist for a reason.
I agree. I feel like politeness and manners are like bare minimum from the start. And then only as you get closer, I think you still say please and thank you to your closest friends. But I think it's more so like if you're like super close, for me at least, it's like you do things for each other without expecting anything like that. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. So, yeah, people have told me, like my friends have told me that if I say something, please to, like if I say, can you get me this, please,
Right.
they think it's like not cool. Because
Interesting.
we're past all those niceties and we're closer than that. And I was like, no, I don't
No.
think that's how manners work.
Yeah, manners apply anytime, any day to anyone.
I think it's just courtesy, right? Like
right.
how you like treat others how you want to be treated.
Right, for sure.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like even saying please and thank you to your parents is, I think, nice. Not that many people do it.
Yeah. My friend was saying recently that since he's moved here, when he goes back to visit India, he thank his mother for like dinner or something
Yeah.
like that, right? And she's like, you're becoming very American.
But I think like deep down they appreciate.
Yeah, but it's just they don't know how to react.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing about courtesy is like, yes, I would treat people how I think it is, like what courtesy
what
is.
you would think.
Same with roommates, and
Right.
I've realized that that's very different.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your other
Speaking
experiences?
of courtesy,
Yeah.
I think it's also like going back to our point about courtesy being like, you know, you letting them know if you're bringing people home or, you know, if there's something happening that's going to affect them. I think that's courtesy, like keeping in mind how it would affect the other person who's in your space. So one of the things that was, I guess, a red flag was when I was rooming during COVID time with other folks, I was not told that they had COVID, and I had to hear it from our mutuals.
Yeah.
I think that was like a huge shock to me, especially because during COVID times, that's a pretty big deal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I think luckily I kind of was just very paranoid about getting COVID, and so I was just very careful. Like I couldn't stay in my room, and then if I was in like a common area, I would wear a mask because that was when it was like peak, right? And I don't know what was going to happen, and I didn't want to affect other people. And so to have heard from other people that my roommates at the time had COVID was just a complete shock to me, and I felt very disrespected in a space that I should have felt respected in. So yeah, I think it's just like stories like that that make you just a little bit more paranoid when you're looking for a roommate. You
Yeah,
know?
for sure. That's a really unpleasant experience, and it's also just purely unsafe.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
If you have a contagious disease, you tell the people who are
Right,
around you.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also like when I am like sick or something, like, and I wouldn't want to like spread it to Rima, right? So I'll like get a test kit or something, just to make sure that it's not like contagious, because like you wouldn't want that for someone else.
Which is why I'm saying so many things I think is just courtesy
Right.
is apparently not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, stay safe out there. Besides like I guess like roommate things, it's very interesting because I've had like, or I've heard people talk about how, you know, when you get to a certain age, and because we were both dating, and people were like, is it a red flag when you're dating someone who is past the age of 30 but they have roommates?
Oh, yeah, I've
What do you
heard this
think?
too.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a red flag, especially in the cost of with the high cost of living in San Francisco.
Mhm.
I actually don't think it's a problem at all.
Yeah.
In fact, I like when people have roommates because
Yeah.
it's just like you get to know more people.
Yeah, it's a good time.
And so when I've dated people who've had roommates, I've enjoyed spending time with their roommates.
yeah.
As long as I think everyone's at a point where they just need space.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have space but you also have roommates around, I think that's fine.
That's true. That's
Yeah. I don't think it's like I mean, sure, I'm great. It's great if you can afford your own
Right.
place and you have your own place, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's definitely
For sure.
It's nice, and I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
But I don't think I would like judge someone if they didn't have their own spot.
Yeah. I think a lot of girls or women I've heard is like, they've kind of complained saying they're 35, but they have a roommate.
I've heard this.
And it's interesting because to your point, right? I think it's just switching your perspective. Like, from your perspective, it's like money saving. And to me, I'd be like, oh, that's actually really financially smart because, you know, he's obviously saving money. And if their roommates and them are not like, it's not like a frat house,
Yeah.
then why does it matter?
Right.
Right. So I think it's interesting that people have this perspective because I don't necessarily agree with it.
Yeah. I've also been on dates where the guys have told me that they've actually had to get their own place because they were not, they were being judged by other women because they didn't have their own place.
Wow.
And I'm like, you moved because someone judged you? I would not date that other person if I was being judged for having a
Yeah,
roommate.
for sure.
But this person was lamenting about high rent on like his
Yeah.
1B. And I'm like, you can change this. And he's like, no, because women judge.
Here's Rima and I moving from one apartment to the other because we didn't want to pay an 80%
Yeah.
increase.
Yeah, I'm like, please.
Let
I'm
alone
okay.
a 1B, 1B.
Yeah, no, I'm okay. But I think it's again, like, I think I also have friends who, for themselves, they can't live with other roommates. Like, their roommate situations have been so bad
Yeah.
that they don't even want to entertain the possibility that their next roommate would be good, that they're okay paying a really high rent just to not have that experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Man. I don't know. I think it's all.
It's all relative. And
Yeah.
and I can't tell my friend, I have a friend who, even though it would make financial sense for her to get a roommate, she's like, that's the price I'm paying for my mental peace. And you can't tell someone to like go back on that, right?
Yeah.
Like, if they've identified that that's the cost that they're willing
Right.
to, or the price they're willing to pay, that's on them. But imagine how bad their roommate situation has been, that they'd like take a financial hit instead of getting a roommate. So
Yeah.
I'm like, luckily I've never been in those positions.
That's true.
Yeah. But I think it's okay for men to not have their place.
Yeah. Yeah. Ideally, they do, and it's okay if they don't. Like,
Right.
that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Ideally, they're just rich. And,
Ideally.
as Rima would say.
Right. Ideally.
I had another question for you. So if, let's say, you had a whole lot of people who asked you to be their roommates, how do you reject someone you know that you're not going to be a good roommate with? Just based on you knowing their lifestyle and their habits. Like, how do you kindly reject them?
So I have rejected like we did discuss that I had friends here. I had friends in SF that were living here who I could have lived with before you, and I did tell them that I don't want to live with them because I don't want our relationship to
Right.
be affected, our friendship to be affected. So I was fairly honest about that.
Yeah.
But if someone were to, I didn't want to be totally upfront about wanting to live with someone because of certain habits.
Right.
I think I'd just lie.
We know.
I would if I thought someone was really messy and I didn't want to live with
How
them
would
because
you?
of that, I would just say that I found a place because, and I think I want to live there because ABC reasons are better than to like give them feedback about themselves.
Right. Fair.
Because I be avoidant.
Correct. That's funny because I think we both said we were like avoidant types.
Yeah.
But I think it's still true. I feel like both of us are the types to, I don't think we would bring up anything because we would rather save the friendship than just bring up something small.
Yeah.
Obviously, if it was like really affecting us, I
Yeah.
think we would be honest with each other. At least I would.
Oh, me
I
and
don't
you.
know. Yeah.
Oh,
you
yeah,
and
yeah.
I. I think I would. I don't know about you.
Yeah. We'll find out.
It's been 4 years. It's just because I'm such a good roommate.
That's perfect. She's an angel.
I'm kidding. But yeah, I was just wondering, like,
What would you do? Yeah, I would not like hyper focus on an issue with them on like or
Right.
give them feedback.
Right.
I would just be like, I think this another living situation is better
Yeah.
because of XYZ
Yeah.
reasons.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I've had, I think, people kind of see that Rima and I have like a good living situation, and they
Gotcha.
asked to see if we would be open to having a third or fourth. I didn't tell you this.
Oh yeah, this is the first time hearing about this.
Because I personally, I don't think like they would have been,
a good addition.
because I kind of know their lifestyle, and I don't think they live the same lifestyle that we do.
Interesting.
And so I felt like it would have been kind of tension. I think there would have been tension in the way we expect, or how we expect house things to
How do you
be.
tell them that?
I didn't. And so I was just like, I kind of just waved it off by saying, oh, I guess we'll see depending on Rima and my current housing. I don't think we'd move to have a bigger, because
Spot.
we really like our spot right now.
Yeah.
So not like really lying or like being around the bush, but more so just kind of delaying the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we were to stop living with each other for whatever reasons, do you think you'll get your own place or do you want a roommate? Or like would you, depending on the situation, maybe you're partnered up.
Yeah. Well, assuming that I'm not partnered up, I think I would get my own place. I think in this part of my life, I think I would. Yeah, but I think because we have a good situation, I don't know if I would risk getting someone unless I already know what their like lifestyle is like. Because maybe let's say we've gone over to their house a couple of times,
or you've gone on holidays with them and
yes,
stuff
and
like
I
that.
know like what their habits are or what sort of things they value or don't value. I think maybe that would help me decide. Yeah, I feel like if it was like someone who like lives the same lifestyle as us, then I think I would consider it just to save money. But otherwise, I think I would live on my own. I just need a little bit more pay.
Little bit. See, Barry keeps telling me I'm contradictory, but then there's so many other episodes where she's like, no, more money, more problems.
More money, more problems for sure. Like, it's just, I need a little bit more. I don't need to be a multi-millionaire.
Just a humble millionaire.
Correct.
Love that for you.
Yep. You know, the argument is just that, you know, you just attract things that are not nice when you do have a lot of money.
I'm okay to attract all these things.
So Rima and I were discussing this episode, okay, and she was just like, one of the things I was just like, oh, what would you look for in a roommate? And she's like, rich.
Yeah.
Ideally someone who just pays for rent, pays for amenities, pays for the bills and everything, and you just bring your little suitcase and you
that's
just
my little
plonk
personality.
yourself in the house.
And my little
I just need Rima to become like a millionaire or billionaire, and then we wouldn't have this problem of needing or to move because
keeps opening
Exactly.
offices and jacking up rent prices, and then non-open eye
Exactly.
folks need to go and find another house.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's actually like a trend across SF right now. So it's not just us that are seeing this price increase. I think some of our friends are also seeing this, and it's just kind of due to the open AI, or not open AI, but the AI wave of people moving into SF.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about whether there'd be a point, because like the rent increases are getting so exponentially high.
Mm-hmm.
If there'd be a point where I would think about leaving SF because of it.
Would you?
I hope not, because I really like
Yeah,
SF.
same.
But I mean, if it comes to it, if it doesn't make financial sense
agree.
anymore,
Where would you go? Would you stay in California or would you go to another state?
I don't know. I feel like living in California really has spoiled me. I really like
Really?
California.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
I have a friend who lives in San Diego, and he used to only have one room here. So he used to live in SF, and then he moved down to San Diego. But like when he was here, he lived in a townhouse with some friends, and he had one bedroom, and he was paying like a pretty decent amount, but then it wasn't like expensive. It was just like a decent
Like what
rent.
is like 1.7?
Yeah, ish. It wasn't more than 2K, which
Okay.
is really good because he had like lots of space.
Yeah.
But then he moved out to San Diego and he's paying just a little bit more for a 2B
And
for
he's,
himself.
wow.
Yeah, and he has a garage and he doesn't share that. And I'm just like, wow, maybe San Diego is the place to be. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you? Would you move in with someone else in the events that we can't live together anymore?
I think it'll honestly depend on like if I was to let like a net new person into my life, because I don't think I would live with, I don't think there are any more friends that I can live with, because all my friends are partnered up.
It's like we were just talking about this the other day.
Yeah, I have no single friends.
That's true.
So yeah, so I would have to like find maybe like an
Right.
acquaintance to move in with. So kind of a net new person.
Yeah.
And then it would be like, oh my God, do I want to put myself through
Right.
like adjusting with someone else, or to what my other friends are doing, pay a higher price and then
Right.
get my own spot.
Right.
I think it would depend. But I don't mind. I think I don't mind when other people have roommates, because I also like having roommates. I like coming back home to people.
Oh wait, do you mean like other people as in
Like I don't think it's bad. Like I know some people are like, oh, if you're in your 30s, you have to get your own place.
go
But
back
I
to that
like,
topic.
yeah, I like living with people,
Yeah,
because
for
I like
sure.
coming back home to people.
Same.
I don't. Yeah, coming back to an empty house is really strange.
It's so funny. People think we're like a married couple
Yeah.
because like we come home and we debrief, and we really do. We just come home and we like the first thing is like, oh, how was your day? And then new goss.
Yeah, goss is very important.
Yeah, but it's nice to do that.
Yeah, so I think it's to the thing of like, yeah, I don't mind living with someone else if I can.
Agree.
If I can guarantee that can happen, but it is a gamble.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I have the patience
To-
to do that again.
I was
So-
just thinking. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and like I keep joking with you about this, but I feel like I've not had shitty roommates, and I feel like my time is coming.
Don't say that.
Like, I
That's
feel
like a
like-
bad attitude.
I feel like my quota of good roommates is going to like run out
Yeah,
soon.
well, you're not gonna have good roommates with that attitude.
Okay, well, or I don't want to test this theory, because I'm like, I told you so. See, my roommate is awful. Yeah, so I'm also like that, but yeah, I think there's a lot of thing about, hey, if you're in your 30s, like you get judged for not having your own place, but I like having roommates.
Yeah, I think it's nice. I think because we're both like social people,
Mm-hmm.
I think we like to talk about things or like chat through our thoughts and things like that. So I think it would be quiet, very quiet, if I had to get my own place. And even if I had my own place, you know, I think I would like to have like people over and host people, or have like people down the road, you know, that you can just.
Dude, the TV show Friends has really growing up, really negatively impacted what I think living in a city with friends was like. I was like, oh, everybody will live close by and everybody will see each other all the time.
Yeah.
False.
But I mean, you had that one guy that you saw for, but that
all his friends lived close
all
by.
his friends lived in the
That
same.
was so cool.
That was so sweet.
It was so sweet. I was so jealous of that setup, because literally they've all been friends since high school.
Yeah.
And they all are now neighbors
Yeah.
/ roommates. And I
Yeah.
was like, that's so sweet.
It's so sweet. I remember them saying like a few people live like within 10 minutes block.
Yeah. They all live on the same block.
It's so
Even
sweet.
if they're partnered up, they just got their partners into
Yeah,
this situation.
yeah.
And I was like, okay, I guess some people do have the friend situation. The friend sitcom situation.
Ideally, I would want that, and ideally, like, you would just live two
Neighbor,
blocks down. Yeah, like Miriam and I were talking about this. We just go by in the same block. But yeah, I think that's nice. I guess I grew up with that with like my childhood friends, right? Because we all lived within 10 minutes of each other.
But did y'all become friends because y'all live close together, or did your parents actually make an effort to live close to each other?
Oh, no. I guess, well, I suppose it wasn't like they decided, but it was like because the Taiwanese community in that area was limited. So everybody kind of knew each other, but because we all like lived in the same community, we were hanging out at each other's houses and became closer because of that. So, yeah. But I think it would be nice to have like your friends all live within 10
Walking
to 15
distance.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember people coming over to our house like on weekends because we had the pool, and our friends' houses didn't have the pool. But because we were so close, everybody on the weekends would just come over and we'd just play in the pool, and it was just the best thing.
That is nice.
Yeah.
I feel like growing up, life was so different than what it is now.
Yeah.
That even growing up, when I would see shows like Friends, it would make sense that everyone lives together. But now I feel like people are moving further and further away.
That's true.
Everyone's a global citizen.
Yeah, that's true. So, which was nice when we heard that that guy you were seeing was like that, because they're not from the States.
Yeah.
And the fact that they all came here, decided to locate themselves in the same place.
Yeah.
That was so sweet.
Yeah. And even their partners got along. It was so cute.
So do you think like you would continue having a roommate up until you get married? Or do you think at some point you would want to live on your own? Just experience like living on your own.
Yeah, another friend had asked me this even before I moved in with you. Actually, when I was moving to the SF Bay Area, they were like, maybe you should live by yourself, because I've never lived by myself, to see what it's like. And I'm like, why? Why? Like, life is enough character development. Why do I need to put myself in these situations? And I feel like I'm independent enough. I like my own.
That's true.
I like my space. I enjoy my company.
Yeah.
So I can do all the things.
Yeah.
But if I don't need to, then why?
That's true. And it's not like Rima and I are like together 24/7.
Yeah,
right?
but
we have our own lives. You have your friends. I have mine.
We actually have to set out calendar invites to hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like,
tied to the hip.
Exactly.
My closing thoughts are, I don't know if I'm scared I've run out of good roommate karma energy. So that would be my concern.
Though, with that attitude.
Yeah.
We wish her but the best.
Thank you.
We wish her nothing but the best.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Rewording that. But yeah, I really like our apartment. I'm just like looking at our view, and I wish you guys could see our view. It's just that lighting in that direction isn't great. But we have such a good setup. And yeah.
So one of my friend has been harping on about starting to journal with me, and she was like, well, you should start a gratitude journal. And one of the things I'm grateful for is that I can live in a place where I feel safe and I have psychological safety because of who I live with.
Well, you've always had that.
You've not had physical safety. Yeah. But I'm very grateful that I have, a lot of people I know, especially in SF, I've seen their living situations are not great. So many homeless people around us. Mm-hmm. And the privilege that I have is not lost on me.
Yeah,
so grateful.
For sure. It's funny because we talked about being grateful a lot on our podcast, and I think like it's just continuing to be grateful. Like every time like I look out my window and I'm just like, we live in such a good place, we have such a good living situation, like we have a good job, we have
we've
a good life. Rewind. You're not going to include this. No, to cut it out.
Yeah,
but just being grateful.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think we're going to edit at that.
Yeah.
We hope that you guys can share some of your roommates.
Oh my God, yeah. Give us the spicy stories.
Want the tea.
Yeah.
But also share the good stuff with us.
Sure. But give us the spicy stuff.
But yeah, it was a good time chatting about our living situation. Hopefully you guys know us a little better now. And we will see you guys in the next one.
Doodles.
Bye.